I'm like a kid on Christmas morning every time I do this intro because I'm so grateful when anyone agrees to sit down with me and share their life stories all about adversity and overcoming it. So, if you're new here, before I introduce and hand it over to my amazing guest, before we get into that, my name is Bree. I am the host of this podcast, obviously. Um, Adventures in Adversity is a collection of stories. Really, what it is real people telling true stories about how they have turned life's adversity in its many, many forms, we all know that, into an adventure. So I am super stoked for today because there's so many questions I have for you, Logan. Logan Walton, welcome. And I first of all wanted to thank you for sitting down with me today.
Yeah, thank you, Bree, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on.
Yeah. No, and you were introduced to me. I got to give a shout out to Adam,
Oh yeah.
known by his Instagram as Big Adam. The safest guy in town like whenever you're around him, right? He is a private security professional. He was a few episodes ago. I can't even remember which one, but just look down if you're
Mhm.
scrolling for Adam, private security. Now, Logan, how do you know Adam?
So I worked with Adam at my first like hospitality industry job in Scottsdale, Arizona. We were both doing door host jobs, so checking IDs, just greeting guests, like sort of kind of simple stuff, and then security stuff on the side as well in case we were ever dealing with, you know, uh, people that were just trying to cause problems.
Yeah. So you met him. Okay, cool. So you know him, and I know I'm gonna put all your information in the show notes, but it sounds like you guys have got a great relationship now, and I just like love you guys both. What I love about it is you both pump each other up, and I love just like the genuine like you can tell you both want each other to succeed, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he does amazing work and he's such a good
Yeah.
dude. And he's always hyping everybody he knows. That's why everybody loves him.
He's amazing. I literally he's my new bestie.
Mine too.
Yeah, that is yeah, totally. He's like, "Yes, you could say that." Okay, so Logan. So we have, let's see, we were introduced via Adam, via my producer Jack. Shout out to you as well. And you have so many facets of you. I'm going to brag about you for a second that I'm really interested in. And the reason why is I think there's a really interesting aspects of your life and things you're working towards and things you're doing now. And I have no doubt that in each one of those areas, there's some adversity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been
Yeah,
a
you know.
it's been an interesting ride the last decade or so.
Yeah, yeah. So where I'd like to start, and then I will stop talking. That does happen. Um, First of all, I'm gonna kind of just like paint a picture of what you got going on, and then I'm gonna let you tell your story. So
Absolutely.
you are You are, Logan, a pretty cool guy. Here's why. And he did not ask me to do this, guys. I'm telling you, he's a humble guy. You are a political candidate for the 2026 Arizona State Senate candidate,
Yep.
LD8. I'm looking
Hmm.
at your Instagram here. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, look in the show notes for his Instagram. You are a GM at Empire Scottsdale,
Hmm.
which I'll let you talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Another thing, because I've been doing my research, you're also a twin.
Yeah.
You're a
I
twin.
know.
You're
Yep.
like, I'm not a stalker. I was just doing my research. Another cool thing about you, you played on the practice squad for the Mercury
Yeah.
or with Sophie Cunningham and all. Okay,
Yep. Just for a little bit. Yeah, we had a couple
just for
years
a
of
little
that.
bit.
Yeah, it was
Very cool.
just
Yeah. So uh, I just want to hear about your experiences. I want to just like go into your story and just kind of learn about who you are. And then I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, but we're just going to have coffee and chat.
yeah. So I've lived out in Arizona almost a dozen years now. So I've been moved down here in 2014. Originally went to
Okay.
ASU and then as well as Chandler Gilbert Community College. And then from there I started working in like hospitality industry. So restaurants, bars, certain other venues, and just kind of learning anywhere from busing, dishwashing, serving, cooking, kind of did everything
Yep.
all at once at some points. And so From there, I made a jump over to door host slash security, working over there with Adam, and just really starting getting into that entertainment district and meeting so many different walks of life, tourists, locals, kind of everything. So I really fell in love with like how many people you get to meet out here in Arizona.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
And then from there, I wanted to make a sidestep away from the industry, kind of like burnout, a lot of late nights, a lot of weekends missed, and wanted to try something else and something different. So I started
Yeah.
working for Uber in their risk and compliance program. And while it's a great company to work for and all of the perks and all the different like type of things working for a high-end tech
Sure.
company, um, definitely didn't feel as fulfilled as I was like just meeting and greeting, 200 faces a day, different people and stories. And so I kind of was like looking for an outlet, and I messaged some old customers of mine that I had known for about 3 or 4 years, and I saw they were building this venue, and he happened to just be building a bar top, was posting on his Instagram story. So I DM'd him, and I was just like, "Hey, like, you guys need like a part-time bartender or anything? I'm like, I'm bored at my regular job. I need something to do." And he's like, "Actually, like, I wanted to talk to you." I was like, "Oh." So
Oh,
we go.
isn't that convenient?
Yeah, yeah. And so kind of had some dumb luck with it involved. And we sat down and we talked about the vision of what ended up becoming Empire Scottsdale. And he kind of told me what his plan was for somebody to run the operations and help build the culture in the space and kind of just be a catch-all so that they could focus on the bigger picture things. And so that talked about basically being the general manager of the space. And so we tried it out for a month or so, doing part-time work, filling in gaps and voids. And then about April, first, second week of April, I had done my last day at Uber and was full time into this role. And just,
Amazing.
yeah. And from there, it's been almost 2 years coming up in March that it's been actually open. And we'll be 100 members deep. We've got probably done over 100 events in the last 2 years and fundraisers, nonprofits, just different sorts of corporate events, regular. We've even had a rehearsal dinner there. It's all sorts of different stuff.
Yeah. Well, what's really cool is I love that story because, like, for anyone listening, what started with you, like, I'm imagining you sitting at your job being like, just, that like speech bubble or like thought bubble of like, I don't want to do this forever. And then you just get an idea, you send a message, and then he had been thinking, even if like he hadn't been thinking about you, you took initiative
Yeah.
and then it lined up. And like, what a cool, just from that one little action, it changed the whole course of your path, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's never thought I'd get a opportunity off of a DM, and let alone to a friend and really great people that I've gotten to work with. Him and his business partners are just amazing
Yeah.
individuals, and I've been really honored to just be around them and a bunch of other people in the network, as well as the members that come to Empire, all just super impressive people, and I'm just incredibly humbled.
Well, and you're a humble guy. That's why you're friends with Adam because you guys are both awesome, but you're like very humble. It's your energy. And I've gotten to know the venue through Adam because so everyone who comes on, they become part of the Adventures University family. Then I'm, checking out, I'm following them. And I'm like, Empire Scottsdale, Empire Scottsdale, Empire Scottsdale. This place looks cool. And then, so and then I was looking at the Instagram, which down below in the show notes, check it out, especially if you live in Arizona. Um, I love the culture of the posts and how you guys are very in your communications, very transparent, direct. I like the energy of what I'm even just seeing from the page. Do you know what I mean? I haven't
Yeah.
even been there yet, and so kudos to you for that. It's got a good energy.
Yeah, we have a really awesome partner. His name's Raf. He does all the media stuff and just coordinates with photographers and really high
Yeah,
quality editors. And just like it's a full team build. Like it's, six of us that are operating it, and
yeah.
it's all hands on, even with, all the co-founders, they're just fully invested in this.
And you've done events I've seen, it's which I think is beautiful because especially like freedom of speech, with everything that's going on in the world, this space is a gathering space not only for like celebrations but for a lot of important dialogue.
Yeah, we've
right?
been, yeah, it's honestly really impressive. We had some really fortunate where one of our members is actually running a nonprofit that is about having dialogue about tough topics with individual people that have their own thought processes on it. And, shout out Arizona
Yeah.
Talks and Carlos. I mean, they do amazing work there. And so we try to emulate that as best we can by hosting, the debate parties and the Constitution Days and,
Yeah.
trying to actually just bring back common dialogue.
Totally. Like let's respectfully agree, disagree, coexist, but let's like let's like use our brains and come with a curious open mindset, right? And then
Hmm.
it's like that's the beauty of America, right?
Yeah.
That old school okay, your turn, my turn. Let's go, and then like shake handshake. That's
No,
what
yeah.
that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's
Oh,
just about having different opinions is a good thing. It's about having that civic dialogue back and just making sure we can problem solve together, even if it's coming about different ways about it.
absolutely. Now, what a perfect segue. And again, please, guys, check out the show notes if you, especially if you live in Arizona. And by the way, I've already said if I'm coming through Arizona, that's a stop I'm making. There's so
Yeah.
many people I need to come meet now. Um, civic dialogue, freedom of speech. Wow, I am so impressed by and like just I've never actually talked to somebody who's running for Senate. That's
I
really cool.
yeah,
And
until very
and I'm
recently, neither
really
did I.
oh, you're like now I talk to him every day in the mirror all
Every
day.
practice it every day, yeah.
First of all, I think it's amazing and I posted about it. I'm really inspired by leadership and um people who have a voice and want to make a change. So first of all, just congrats on taking that opportunity to represent the state of Arizona and like everybody, really. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's an honor. It's a public service at the end of the day, and I am really just blessed to just have my name in the hat and have an opportunity to potentially represent Arizonans and get things done.
Yeah. So take me back. Were you like sitting having your coffee one day? And were you like, I'm gonna run for Senate? Or like how did this come about?
So I've always been very interested in politics and the civics that go on, both in the United States, around the world, and in Arizona itself. I feel really attached to the community, having now been out here for 12 years, and I just feel like there's more to be done, especially when you hear about like Arizona's a beautiful state, but it's not perfect. And there's a lot of things that we can do to help make it better, more prosperous for people, get people built up from their bootstraps and getting things accomplished for all Arizonans, across the aisle. It's really something that I've just always been interested in. And, having the time separated where I have like a more normal 9 to 5 schedule where I can actually plan things out in the evening, weekends, I'm able to get involved differently than I was before. And it kind of brought back that spark of like, hey, there might be an opportunity here. I was looking up where it's like, oh, should I do city council? Should I do
Yeah.
house? What's available? And I noticed that Senate had some close battles to it, and that I reached out and found out that the prior Republican candidate wasn't going to be running this time around, and so decided that that would be the opportunity to put my name in the hat. I know it's a high-ranking seat for the state Senate to go up there, and I just wanted
Mhm.
to be a part of it and just be a part of this journey.
I think it's so badass. I'm sorry. Like it's just I really think it's so cool. And especially the reason, I mean, I think it's cool, but I also in getting ready for our chat, I heard a couple of sound bites from you that I'm so aligned with. You were talking about specifically, and by the way, I know we can't cover your whole platform on this episode. Maybe we'll have to have you back, by the way.
Yeah,
So just saying.
absolutely. I'd be happy
Um,
to.
you mentioned, and I mentioned to my husband, he was like, "Yes, I love this." Um, you talked about bringing back financial literacy courses, and then, or I don't even know if we've ever had them, bringing those into like younger, and then bringing back the trades.
Mhm. And yeah, and Arizona does a pretty good job of some of this anyways. I had the opportunity this past week to visit Westwood High School and Mountain View High School, and
Uh-huh.
they do across Arizona actually does have a lot of trade programs out in Florence. There's welding programs available. So now it's
Cool.
just about making more of these certifications and apprenticeships more available for students and having more private sector visitors come in. Like Mountain View, they bring in like an orthodontist, a surgeon, other people in the trades industry just to talk to students. They'll do trade fairs and have things come in. So just getting that where it's more set in stone on a foundation where it's common ground for every school to do this or start building pathways for students to find themselves and make decisions what they want to do post-secondary education, because college isn't for everybody. And I think there's a lot of opportunity as Arizona grows across the board that we're going to need people for every industry, even with AI and all that stuff happening.
Totally. And I think it's I live in California, so don't even get me started. But hey, listen, I've had all people on this podcast.
Yep,
This is a freedom of speech podcast. Anyone out
absolutely.
there who disagrees with anything I say, I invite you to come talk to me with respect. But California has some issues, just saying. Um, what I love is that as a mother, I have a 8.5 and a 10.5 year old boy and girl. I'm like, I want you to do what you love.
Mhm.
I don't want you to, I mean, like working with your hands, carpenter, electrician, like these are, I'm like blown away by what these people can do. And then you can build a business if you love it and you can have, and then you need coaching on how to do that early on. Like, why do you have to go sit in a classroom if you don't want to be like behind a desk? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and
It just doesn't.
it's got to be a balance of both is what it needs to be. We
True.
want students to be able to have some critical thinking skills, have some actual practice at problem solving and deduction, and then that comes from your common courses as much as we would love to shake it up.
Yeah.
I still,
Sure.
as while that's an option, I want still there to be where they're getting more elective opportunities to explore pathways.
Got it. So it's just it's options and flexibility and pathways. That's a great it's not like doing away with reading and writing. It's the whole spectrum of
Yeah,
all the life skills, right?
exactly. Yeah, it's just giving people more choice and more options. And with more choices comes more freedom.
I love that because that's what you want, that freedom of thought, freedom of choice to pursue whatever life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, whatever
Yeah.
that means for you,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and even like to find what you're not like, what you don't like. I think that's the best of it. If I've done so many different, jobs trying to figure out or learning different things that I absolutely didn't like at the end of the day, and I needed to pivot. And I think if we allow that to happen earlier, kids will find that and pivot and make a course, and then they'll find what they'll really love and they'll go all in on it.
That's a great point. It's the growth mindset, right? And like process of elimination too. Like you're not
Mhm.
going to find the dream on the first maybe class you take where you're like, this is it.
Mhm.
Or maybe you're lucky and you do, and you're like, this is it. But for a lot of us, the path is try that, doesn't fulfill me. Try that, you figure it out.
Yep.
Um, and so I just want to give a little background on for us political newbies as far as like learning how the system works. And then I'll just would love to get your opinion. So the Arizona State Senate, it's the upper house of I'm looking here at my little research, the upper house of the Arizona legislature, right?
Mm. Correct.
So, and for, again, political newbie here, every state has two senators, right? So, and then it says the types of things that if you're elected, you will write and vote on state laws like schools, state taxes, criminal law, housing, gun rules, water. You'll help and create and approve the state budget, confirm or reject governor appointments, vote on impeachment and removal of state officials. Wow, this is cool. This
Yeah,
is some,
and for
uh-huh.
Arizona to kind of go a little more depth into it, it goes based
Yeah,
where there's 30 districts in it. So each, just to break it down, while there is two state senators,
yeah.
it's actually one Senate seat per district, and there's 30 districts, and then there's two Congress seats or House seats. So you get
Got
60
it.
people in the House, 30 people in the Senate. And then
Wow.
from there, so it's really a small group of people making decisions for the state and, just trying to make sure that we do the right thing.
Amazing. What an like and you said this early on. What an honor to and if all works out, like even just again, I think even the process of you running is probably already teaching you a lot about yourself and life.
Yes, it's been a big learning curve. Obviously, I've never ran for office prior to this. And so just I'm very fortunate to just kind of always be allowed to pick people's brains and ask people who have been through the gauntlet before me and kind of figure out what's the best route to go. How do I get this done? How do I make sure I file on time? And it's it's kind of like learning a new skill set all over again.
100%. Like it's certainly I the actual logistics of it, right? Like the filing, the learning, what do I need to do by when? And then also you're probably getting clear on your stance and then like you're already out talking to Arizonans. It's like that's part of who you are in your career. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
lucky to not be shy.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. People are like, "You never stop talking." I'm like, I know. I'm working on it. Um, no, gosh, okay. So many questions. So you've the passion has been there. You're on the train towards, and the election is in November. Again, I'm just like, I'm the newbie here. So it's November is what you're working towards this coming
Yes.
November.
Yes, correct. If I did have another opponent in the primary, we would have that in, I believe, July or early August. But since there is nobody primary against me, it's just me trying to get enough name brand recognition, face in front of faces, and getting to the people before November.
Amazing. Amazing. Um, what okay, so let's just go hypothetical. And again, I'm not trying to grill you. I'm just
No,
excited for you.
no,
This
I
is all like
appreciate it.
pure excitement, by the way. This isn't a grill you kind of podcast. Um, I'm it's just not my style. If you were like the first month you get elected, you're like soaking it up, it seems like you're already out in the community. Like, what do you imagine that those first couple months might be like? Like, again, I know you've never done it, so you
I
don't know, but
I would say for me is just studying what the docket, like what does the House and Senate already kind of have prepared and what's going to be voted on coming up. And then from there, reaching out to local experts and people in the Valley to find out what their opinions on it and just listening to people before actually going in and meeting with my fellow Senate members and stuff like that. For me, I just want to get the reins of things, learn the schedule, kind of make sure I show up on time, I'm representing Arizona well, and that from there it's learning that docket and making sure that I'm an educated vote coming into it and doing my research, doing
mm,
homework.
so the docket, and again, I'm learning here. Thank you for the education. The docket is what is potentially going to be voted on and passed. Is that right?
Yes, and not necessarily that it'll actually come to a vote, but whatever either side has planned for what they want to get brought to the floor and what gets voted up from the House itself, and kind of just understanding and reading up on what's written.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're going to be a sponge, and I love that you said listen, because you're I mean it's just with the political climate today, I love that someone like you is running cuz you're so authentic. Like it's just you can't fake that. Like, and I love authenticity, whether you're left, right, center. I'm all about just be authentic and like be who you are and like present who you are. Um, I think, gosh, where was I going with that? I was going somewhere good. Uh,
You're good, it's coming.
welcome to my brain. It's right there. You're, um, oh, so you're listening because really the definition of a public representative is to collect all the voice of the people, right?
Yes.
It's not just your voice, it's voice of the people, and then you're then like kind of being then you translate our voice, right? Or the Arizona citizens. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's about being a champion for the people at the end of the day. And whether I have my beliefs or how I view things, if the my constituents don't feel the same way, then I need to make sure I'm reflecting and seeing where I need to adjust and be able to make sure I'm representing everyone on on the point, and playing devil's advocate still, and
Yeah.
looking at the pros and cons, and then still deciding at the end of the day what I believe is the best decision, but making sure I still hear all the voices first.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like a lot of research, a lot of listening, a lot of you really got to discernment, and then just politics in general. Like I love, like, even at work or any situation, you're like the politics of this, the politics of this, the politics of this. Now you're going into politics, so there's politics of politics, like
Yes.
holy politics. But I think all on both sides, the people that inspire me in speeches and in whether it's whatever medium I see them, I'm like, that person is real. They're real, you know? Um, so when you think about politics, history, like who is it, someone in your family? Is it what inspires you, or who inspires you? Um, Sort of like, it's a big question, but however you'd like to answer it.
I would say first and foremost my parents. They build the foundation for who I am as a person, and
Mm.
my dad is really good about playing both sides of things, and just being able to have multiple viewpoints of something, even if I have to look at it through the lens of people I think are totally wrong. It's
Ah.
making sure that, because having that viewpoint, because there's a good book he read a long time ago, and he quotes it from time to time. I can't draw it off the top of my head, but everybody thinks they're the good guy was the quote. So it's, how do I look through the lens
Oh.
of that person viewing me as the bad guy, and where can I find the pros and cons of my viewpoints, and where can we find that common ground, and how do we move forward to again solve a problem at the end of the day?
Mm. That's such a good. There it is. That's the clip. Yeah. No, I always am like, oh, that's something I'm going to be thinking about for a couple days now. Everybody thinks they're the good guy. That is because we all have ego, right? And we're all like, no, we know this for sure. Like I know for sure. There's no way you're going to change my mind. And maybe that is the case, but I think it shows a lot of humility and like intelligence, and to be like, hold on, but let's just hear it. Let's hear it. Let's look at it, right? That's so important because, as my husband says too, there's two things can be true. Tell me if you agree at the same time.
Yeah.
There it's not black. Nothing is black and white, is it
No, I think
necessarily?
No, not at all. I think
Yeah.
there's multi things that play into decision making and how we get our viewpoints. And we, if we're not constantly changing our viewpoints and learning from it, then we're being stubborn intentionally. And I think
Oh.
it's about being lifelong learners. I've not been 100% correct my whole life. I think that would give me a God complex if it did. And I've been wrong on several occasions and been corrected, and I've had to learn from it, go delve deeper, and that's why I really want to make sure research is on top of it. And from there, I've learned from it. Like, it's good to be wrong sometimes.
Oh, that's a good one. It's good to be wrong. It's a real reminder of like nobody knows everything. You just don't. And like you said, it's really important. If you think you do, or you think you know mostly everything, then we're getting into like some dangerous territory, like psychologically. Like that's not
Yeah.
healthy, you
Yeah, you
know?
have to still make the decision and trust that you're doing what you believe is best for everyone. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but you got to still go with what you believe is the right decision at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay, question about um the process. What two-part question. What has been the coolest thing about running so far? And then what has been something pretty challenging about running? And take your time if you need to think about it, but I'm sure there's a little bit of both. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say. I think the coolest thing is just seeing how excited people get. Is just and just like that one that somebody is just actually wanting to put their name in the hat. Like it's people are just generally awesome about just being excited for me, even if they, not even if they're not going to vote for me the end of the day. Oh, if people have been real Arizonans are really, really nice out here. I don't know what anybody
Yeah.
else says, but I think just with so much sunshine, how can you be upset? Even people that I know will probably not likely vote for me in November, they're just saying, everybody gives you a congrats and just I think that's
Awesome.
why Arizona's beautiful as a battleground state. It's just there's a lot of already of that civics and civil dialogue involved here already, and I think that's why it is always going to be a good battleground state.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm glad to hear that because that's what that even people on the other side of maybe policies are like they're happy to see you participating in like democracy.
Yes, yeah,
That's
yeah.
super cool. Okay. Super cool.
And then I would say the most challenging part is definitely is how much time it actually takes involved. Definitely underestimated at first what it all takes to kind of one is like just been learning about the civics. I've been in a Valley Leadership program since probably like the last 4 or 5 months, and just kind of trying to learn everything that's going on in Arizona, listening to different speakers on different Zoom calls, team kind of meetings, and just as well as like having to get on the phones, go set up meetings, set up greet the candidates stuff, and just get signatures, all the little stuff for kind of boots on the ground stuff. I've now fortunately started working with a consulting team to start making it a little more easier on myself, but it's I'm learning the time commitment and I'm preparing for a bigger time commitment as we get closer, and from there it's
Mhm.
just trying to create that balance of making sure I put the right effort in.
Yep. And then like getting in the self care and the sleep and the family time and the exercise, right? And the job. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, it's Empire has a lot of different hours, especially when we do events and we have people doing conference meetings and different stuff. And the people that come in to co-work in the space need different needs, AV needs and stuff throughout the day. So where hours can range
You
for
never
me,
stop.
but luckily I'm been pretty organized. I have a good Google Calendar, and I've got some really good team around me and some staff that works for me that's really starting to get the hang of things, and so that'll start to open up that gap for me to go full bore into this coming up.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like your experience as a general manager, which basically you got your hands in everything, and then you're in a leadership position, you're customer facing, you're leading employees, you're managing budgets. It's almost like um, it's been preparing you for the next venture. If you're elected, you've been running operations and communications and dialogue, and it seems like a really good like runway to this next chapter.
Yeah, I think it's done a lot to, sharpen my skill set in terms of how I, work with people, talk with people. I'm meeting a lot of very high level professionals, so learning kind of like their inner workings. I get to pick their brains a lot just because I'm in the space with them, and so it's like a new mastermind every day for me because it's just the life experience that some of these guys have and some of these girls that are in there that I would never have prior to this. And I get to, vicariously live through them and see kind of like the trials and errors of how they got to where they are and, what their business are doing, their day-to-day lives, how are they handling everything? And, everybody's really the same at the end of the day.
It's like it's incredible, and you are obviously all about talking to people and listening, and on this podcast I'm just like the things I hear, I'm like, wow, every single person you walk by in the grocery store, every single person you drive by, they have a story that has things that you're just like, what? How did you handle that? Wow, you really got, whoa, you turned that around. How? And they're like, I'll tell you how. And you're like, okay, like that's really valuable knowledge.
It's just a very again, I guess I'm very blessed to be a part of it and even have the opportunity to be in the same room as some of these people.
Yeah. Gosh. So you are like, you're managing right now. You're managing Empire Scottsdale. You're running for Senate. Your parents must be so proud of you. I mean, you said you have a relationship with your dad. What does your pop think about all this?
Yo, he thinks I'm crazy. He, he's so happy for me and just super supportive, always asking how it's going. But he just laughs at me sometimes. He's like, you could have waited to do this down the line, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think I'm ready now. And he's he's always supported. Him and my mom have always been. They kind of they guide loosely. They'll give their warnings and they'll give their premonitions, and but at the end of the day, they support me 100%, and I'm just very happy to have their backing.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I have a similar relationship with my parents in that, they drop the little nuggets, especially like with the podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I got it. And then my brother, he's like, hey, and I'm like, okay, okay, yeah, you're fine, you're right, I know. But it's just like it's really cool to have family behind you and friends like Adam and people in your life that when you go on these adventures that you're like, not sure how this is going to work out, but I really feel like I want to. They're like, all right, you're a little nuts, but we got you and you can do it.
Yeah, they know I'm a risk taker and that I'm competitive, and uh they're they're just like, all right, just let him do it. He's gonna do it anyways. So
Ah, exactly. You got enough stubbornness where you'll respectfully listen, but you're like, yeah, so I'm going to do it. But thanks. Um, so speaking of you, and again, I'm going all over the place. We went
yeah,
from
no,
GM to almost senator to I'm gonna be a senator. I'm
yeah,
gonna fingers crossed for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
If I lived in Arizona, I would totally look at all your policies and then consider voting for you because I
As
always do my research.
Absolutely,
Um,
as you
but
should.
you should, yes, but I would be open to considering it, just
Absolutely.
as everyone else should be who's listening in Arizona. Um, you also have a twin brother, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's my best friend. You know, we've been roommates for life, so it's we still both rent out here in Arizona. We still live together, so he's, just down the hall,
Oh,
hanging out. So we're all supposed to get together later this evening. We're all gonna get a bunch of our buddies together and go bowling. We just turned 30 on Tuesday, so
oh, congrats.
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Well, the reason why I know is I when I was prepping for the interview, I saw this really adorable picture on your Instagram of like you guys eating ice cream
Yes.
and then I was like, "Wait." And then I like scrolling, I'm like, "Wait, birthday, twin. Happy birthday, boy. He's a twin." Like I
Yeah.
was like I think it's cool. I just think it's cool to have somebody that probably understands you in an incredible way.
Yeah, it's we have a, it's I wouldn't call it twin telepathy, but we definitely don't need very many words to kind of feel each other out and see how if someone's doing good or anything like that. And we're both very, very direct with each other. So there's no sugarcoating or anything around here. And, you know, we've he'll tell me it straight, I'll tell it him straight. But I will say he's much more of the Zen, and
Ah.
he's more, man of very few words, but he's a riot once he defrosts. He's an awesome brother, and he'll older brother. Sorry if I don't say it correctly.
Oh,
He'll let me know.
oh, couple minutes.
15 or so. We
15
we
minutes.
we debate on if it's 15 or 16, but I'll say 15 for him today.
Wow. 15 minutes older. Yeah, that's great. I love it. I love just the whole like when you can just be so real with someone where you're like the first thing they say, like you haven't seen them, they walk in and they're like, "What are you wearing?" Or you're like, "Ew, hi." It's that's my brother, my older brother. He's actually 3.5 years older, but he walks in and I'm like, just don't even talk. Just I can already tell you're gonna make fun of me right now, and
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Okay.
Yeah, he's just awesome, man. Best friend forever, and We've been through so much together, ups and downs, and just, we both moved out here together, originally from Oregon. And so we've been,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so tandem duo for ever since. So, we've followed each other out to this, beautiful state. And
Yeah.
one day we'll both be working on probably getting our own homes, building our families, and we won't live in the same four walls anymore. And I'll have to get used to that.
Listen, you actually here's the thing, you don't because guess what? My brother lives 75 steps away. So, just saying, like, literally, we've been here 10 years. He was here 11 years, and I got a text. We were renting and we were looking for houses, and his wife was like, "Hey, come check out on, over here." And I was like, "Okay, we'll put an offer." I'm like, "But we're not gonna get it." So, and we got it, and I'm like, I'm like, we're moving in, and so it's literally the dream. Like my
Yeah.
nieces run back and forth. Like my parents stop by and like drop off mac and cheese and then drop off. It's like the dream.
Yeah,
Okay, so
it
do it.
sounds like the
Stay
perfect
together.
neighborhood. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Stay
we
together. It's so much fun.
we grew up in such a cool neighborhood back home in Beaverton. Like, I mean, I think in 30 households around the little cul-de-sac area, there's probably like 30 to 40 kids all within like 5 or 6 years of age. And so we had just, when you picture those like old school summers of kids being outside, bikes in yards, all the stuff, capture the flag games, all that, we did it all. And so it's really cool to hear that there's other neighborhoods still trying to be like that. And I miss seeing it a lot. I miss, I think the
Yes,
idea of people being outside and around each other is a little bit of a
it's
loss of the waywards kind of.
yeah, it is literally. It's and I grew up same. Irvine, California, tons of kids, like DJs and the block parties and like the moms. The moms were like, okay, and like I'm just keeping it real. I'm like, oh, it's happy hour time. That's when the moms sit with that lemonade stuff. By the way, they were all everything was taken care of. They had earned
Yeah.
it. But I was like, the moms are gonna sit at the red table and we're gonna run around and they're gonna drink the yellow lemonade.
Apparently we're not allowed to drink.
Yeah, no, we don't know. They just play and then the dads are grilling and then we run over here. Like it was
Yeah.
just the classic, the classic upbringing. But it sounds like again, I'm like going all over the place, but your stories are reminding me of like just the simple things. We want to bring back different jobs, different people coming together, not always being on phones. Like again, I have a podcast. I'm on social media. There's a place for it, but we got to like get outside, you
Yeah,
know?
it's got to be able to be face to face and seeing people. And, as much as social media has connected us, I think it's over connected us where we feel burnout before even going to see each other and people. And, you know,
Ah,
we eliminated like, the old saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder, but we can text people immediately. We can constantly see their updates on Instagram and stuff. And, I'm not innocent of that either. I obviously my Instagram page has a bunch of photos. I follow a ton of people
same.
and I
Same.
definitely have got caught doom scrolling before.
Oh, for sure.
And
For
so,
sure.
but I am very fortunate to be able to plan stuff with my friends and meet up, go to rec basketball stuff, still go and score keep at Chandler Gilbert Community College. Like just people got to put
Love
themselves out
that.
that and just put the energy forward to be, in public and be around other people and not through technology.
Totally, it's balance. Like I'm telling you, I was guilty of doom scrolling last week. I went into like a little bit of like a despair hole. I'm open. I'm like, guys, I'm struggling. I need to. The news is freaking me out, and I'm freaking out. Like, and then I'm very open, and now I'm like, okay, you haven't taken a walk, and you need to walk the dog and go work out and take a beat,
Yep.
take a beat because you can get down this rabbit hole of what's real, what's not. I don't know what's real. I'm freaking out. Um, and not even trying to go down that rabbit hole, but with the political climate and all this news coming out, you've got like so many headlines, and I I just wonder like what is your perspective on staying informed, but also like what what do we believe? What do we not believe? Like I'm not. I don't know even. Sometimes I don't even know. But I'm like, I want to be informed, but I don't. I don't want to be. It's over, and I don't know what to do as a citizen at this point. I don't even know what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the biggest power we have is the power to vote. And it's one of our strongest rights. It's that decision part of like, as we've learned more going across this, weird times that it's been as of late, and um, really looking at who do we want to represent us going forward,
Yeah.
and making sure that they are genuine people, they are have the good intentions of the people that they're trying to represent at heart. And that's where the most can be said. And but for other than that, the best is to do is stay informed, don't let it bring you down. Control what you can control at this time. Still do good. Be neighborly to your friends, your neighbors, and do everything you can to try to uplift the people around you. That's the best way we can to be prosperous and to really look after one another as best as we can. And when the time comes to come together as a community and pick our representatives, is pick wisely, know who you're voting
Mhm.
for, make sure they're not doing this for nefarious deeds. And that's the best we
Yeah.
can do. It's not probably not the answer people want to hear. It's a slow process, but that's why our Constitution was made that way so that our government does move slow. But it's to make sure that we
Mhm.
can make the right corrections along the way. Nothing gets
Mhm.
solved in the 2 or 4 years between. It's a 10-year, 20-year process to make sure we can get this done. And I want immediate results as well. Trust me. I want to see
Totally.
I want to see some things done that I don't believe are being done from our federal government. And in terms of the Epstein files and such as like that. And that's across the board for everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Guilty or protecting people is not okay. Um, but
Totally.
there, but from there, we should make sure that we're looking towards the future and bringing in candidates that aren't represented that, who are for new blood,
Yep.
um, and keep on
Yeah.
keeping on the best we can.
Thank you. No, thank you for answering that. I know it's not like an easy topic, but you are a guy who's talking and keeping it real, and I appreciate that about you. And so, um, yeah, it's just been it's I am a great believer in the Constitution. I, grew up and just full disclosure, like my mom is South African. She's now an American citizen, like went through the whole process. My dad is like old school East Coast Irish Italian, he's like incapable of bullshit, as I say. The guy cannot be fake. He just can't.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Um, my mom has a little more of a filter, but my point being, I was raised to love this country, but not to blindly be like, I must love country. But I love this country. It's all over my podcast, the American flag. I love this country. I'm struggling with what's happening right now, with how it's being handled,
Mhm.
but I have faith that there are good people like you, good people. I know there's good and bad in everything. Like you said,
Yeah.
across the board, left, right. Um, this is just like a humanity issue, right?
Yeah.
Like we all gotta it's like it's hard to process. If you've been following my social media, you're like, yeah, we know you've been having a hard time. But I'm better now. But I want to look forward, and I, I couldn't have you couldn't have timed this interview better. Like to just I needed to talk to somebody who's like, calm down. We need to do you're part of the solution.
Yeah. I'm trying
You
to be.
know, you're trying
Absolutely.
to be. You're trying to be through transparent politics.
Yeah. It's just being
You
honest. I
know?
think I don't, as much as people want to try to dance around their words and stuff. I know people either going to love me or hate me based on what I say. I'm sure there's sound bites from this video that could be used against me at some point. I'm not nervous about that. If it makes me go viral on accident, oh well, you know, they'll have to talk to me in person or give me a phone call, email me. Um,
Sure.
I'm happy to be as responsive as I can and get back to everybody that has questions or think I may have said something that they didn't like or they disagree with, then let's have a conversation.
100%. Literally. I can't, I'm not running for political office, but not yet. No. But I will say I've gotten some comments from some trolls where I'm like, zing, ooh. I'm like, ooh, that was harsh. And then some you get like little ones where you're like, oh, that was harsh enough to make me question my reality. No. And then some, now I've realized that you got to know who you are. You got to understand, and but you also have to be open to dialogue and be like, hey, send me a message. Come, I've even said, why don't you come on the podcast? And then it's like crickets. I'm like, okay, well, you just want to like burn me in the comments, but you don't want to talk about it. So,
Yeah.
okay.
It's easy for everybody to have an opinion through the phone. It's super easy to send, but I got to take it like my guy friend group. We're not afraid to roast each other, and if I just kind of take it like it's one of my friends roasting me. Some of them are pretty funny. I'll admit, when you see some of the trolls that are out there, I'll give them their credit. They've got some good zingers, and but still stand on your beliefs. Take it for what it is, and know that most people that are commenting don't have a direct impact on your life.
Yeah. And they're coming, any comment is coming through the lens of how they're what they're experiencing or what they've experienced, and it is really all, a lot of it is, if you look at the psychology of it, is projection.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I've had some psychologists on the show, like you can quote me on
Yeah.
that and come debate me if you don't believe me. It's a lot of projection, and even when I've been rude to somebody, I don't troll people, but if I snap at someone, I'm like, oh, that's because of me, you know. That's my energy I'm bringing. Well, okay, so we've talked about you being a GM. We've talked about your Senate run. So cool. That will never not be cool to me that you're doing that.
Well, thank you.
Regardless of what happens, I think it's just an incredible adventure that you're going on. You're a twin. I do have to call you out for being cool, for practicing even however many times on the practice squad with Sophie Cunningham, because badass.
Yeah,
Badass.
that was quite the experience. They were all so cool. Oh my gosh. Like it was so much fun, and they are they were so competitive. I'm so sad the squad's not together like that anymore, obviously with, the trades and, Diana retiring, but they across the board, and even like dude, Brittany Griner is probably one of the coolest people I've ever met. Just
Yeah.
first moment she walks in, comes and shakes every guy, every dude that's there doing the practice squad side of it, because they can't legally have women on the practice squad because it's a non-compete clause deal.
Oh.
So that's why they have men do it for the scout teams legally wise. And then just to have, there's a lot of good basketball guys that come in there, like former, it'll be like guys that play D2 or D1. And the girls are tough, dude. They'll play competitive. And, I didn't play at that high of skill level for basketball, but it was such an experience, and getting to see the ins and outs of how the coaches operate, how the whole organization moves. I think Matty Sheep has done a good job with when he purchased his team. Now, obviously, the Suns need to win some more games, and the Mercury obviously I think they got to the finals last year, and
Yeah.
just there's it's Arizona's doing a lot of cool things, man. I love that we're like one of the biggest movers and shakers in the country right now.
I literally, okay, there's reason I just love when I was looking at your Instagram and stuff, and like there was, I loved the story where you told like, they talk trash and competitive, and I love that. That was there a moment when Sophie Cunningham just like let you take a three or something, or something
Yeah,
like that?
so she is she definitely is one of the better trash talkers on the team. And she definitely just like let me shoot at one point just to prove a point. And
You're like,
she's and I'm like, it's just, and I was a little rusty at the time too. I maybe would have knocked it down in a different day, but not that day, unfortunately. It wasn't, it wasn't my time to shine.
well, the moment I knew that I was rooting for her was when I saw her, and I played sports, but like I just love the teammate loyalty that she had, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, when she was at Caitlin Clark got like totally messed with, right? And then she just, and I think on Indiana, right?
Yeah, for the
She,
fever,
and I'm
yeah.
sorry if you don't agree with this, then come debate me, but she let the girl know. you're not gonna push my teammate around, and I know she got in trouble for, but sorry, I thought it was good.
Yeah, she's
I thought
such
it was deserved.
she's an amazing person and a really, really tough cookie to say the least. Man, she's there for you. That's I'll give you
She
that.
is tough. I just love seeing strong women. And then I got to give you kudos for just amplifying like women's voices by telling that story. And like, and then also just as I have a daughter, as a woman, I appreciate men who like just talk about that. It's really cool that you took the time to talk about how badass they are. And I all the women appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been a hooper my whole life. I've only I only played at a small junior college out here in Arizona
Yeah,
for a couple of years,
that's cool.
but it's I've always been a fan of the game, and they play it at the highest level. They know what they're doing. Their IQ is really there, and how can you not appreciate just good ball?
Yeah, like appreciate it. Like when you see somebody, whether they're like a basketball player, a master craftsman, a um, really dedicated and like passionate about whatever it is. It's like wow, like that's all in.
Yeah,
You know,
it's exactly what you said. It's like just seeing
it
it is very awe-inspiring.
it is. It's like, and then it makes you go, what do I love? And could I do that all in with something?
Hmm.
And then they're like, yes, you can. That's yes, go do
Exactly.
it. Go do it. Right.
Hmm.
I mean, so that might be a good place, I think, because you got me all inspired here, to put a little bit of a pause because I really would love to, if you'd be open to it. And again, you don't have to decide right now, but throughout your run here down the line, anytime you'd like to come back and talk about anything, we would love to have you back.
Yeah, I'd be happy to give an update and kind of just talk
Yeah.
about what the experience has been like. I'm an open book. I'm not shy of talking to people about anything and kind of everything. A small bit of Irish in me, so gift to gab is a thing for sure. But again, try to make sure as I'm running, just being a good listener as well. But I love to talk to people and just conversate. I think you learn so much through open dialogue and conversation, and just get to actually hear stories from other people.
It fundamentally changes your life view when you just keep hearing people's stories and hearing how resilient people can be.
Yeah.
Um, as we close, please, everybody, look in the show notes. Again, I think Logan was very open. If you have, especially if you're an Arizona citizen and you want to dialogue about anything you've heard or anything, he is contactable below. And then, Logan, do you have any advice for anyone through all your really cool ventures that might be struggling with like self doubt or just like belief? Do you have any advice of like how you're carrying yourself through all this with your own self belief?
Yeah, I say just no matter the ups or downs or trials that you're going through at any time, is just know what your vision is, know what you want to aspire to be, and be accountable to how much work it takes to get there. And then, try to be as disciplined as possible to make sure you're doing all the correct things. Still make sure you're saving time for rest.
Yeah.
And it's the last thing is just make sure that you've got a good support group around you as well. Like your friends and family will be your biggest champions for you. They definitely want the best. My coaches, my teammates, my friends, everybody I've met is definitely how you get through those hard times, and to lean on them, and don't be afraid to ask for help in any shape or form. It's hard, it's annoying,
Yes.
it's usually against our biggest intuition because we're all very much built up by the bootstraps for most people I know. So doing that, and just know that you're going to be great. That's you keep that positive, just being a positive person will change your outlook so much. I know things can seem bad, and be cautious, think about some of the outcomes, but think about the outcomes of not doing anything.
Mm, so good. So good. Logan, this has been such a pleasure. I really enjoyed like connecting with you. I knew you'd be awesome because you're Adam's friend and you're connected to my producer Jack. And I really appreciate you. I know you've got a lot going on, taking this hour to talk to me and my listeners. Really appreciate it, and can't wait to check in with you and like just cheer you on from California.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, Bree. It's an honor.
Yeah,
I'm glad Adam was able to connect us. You're an amazing person, and hopefully, if I ever out in California, you're ever out here, like let's connect.
please. It's going to probably happen. Just
Yeah,
saying. Just
absolutely.
saying. And I told Adam, I'm like, and you're just gonna walk with me everywhere, even though no one cares. I just will feel safe with you everywhere. And
Exactly.
they're like, Bree, nobody knows who you are. I'm like, I know, but I feel safe.
Mhm. Big protector. Yes, he is.
Yes. Well, with that, guys, thank you so much, Logan. And check out all of Logan's information below. And we are going to sign off with episode 87. Take care, everybody.